Hi everybody, this is Jackie Gipe, and today I'm going to walk through some of the features that are available in the Pulse Teacher Dashboard. So you can see on my screen I've got the Teacher Dashboard pulled up here. You'll notice that at the very top of our screen we've got some options up here. Your screen should automatically default to your center that you're at and your teacher name. You can see I've got this drop down available as well as for the teacher here. Again, it should default to your center and your name. You have the ability on the top of your screen on the right hand side to toggle back and forth between different weeks. So you can see it, I'm a little far back to November here. I could toggle forward up until February to get to today's week, or continue to toggle back further into the start of the school year. You can also see over here the last time that this system was refreshed. And then you do have the ability to view your active and your inactive students. If I wanted to look at students who were inactive that were still assigned to me, I could just check this box and it would flip over and show me my inactive students. The other feature that's available over here is this reports option. If you click on that, it'll allow you to take all of this data and export it either as a CSV file or you could save it as a PDF. So those are some options you have available. One other thing to notice at the upper right hand corner is your account is listed here. So if you click on this drop down option, you have the ability to choose your profile and make some adjustments there. You likely do not have system settings. And then you do have a log out option. And then really quick, last piece on the top part of our screen here, there is a filter option in case you're searching for a particular student and you don't want to have to scroll all the way through your dashboard. You can just start typing the student's name in and they will come to the top of the screen here. Okay, so I'll clear that out. Now we'll get into the meat of the dashboard, okay, all the important stuff, mainly our student data. So you can see I've got a variety of columns here. Starting on the left-hand side, I've got some quick links, okay? So a lot of staff members spend time on the teacher dashboard. The other two areas that teachers spend a lot of time are in the teacher log and the student info area. So on this left-hand side, if you click this view button, that's a quick link and that will take you directly to the teacher log for this particular student. So if I wanted to view Marina's teacher log, I could just click this view button right here and it would take me there. The other thing you'll notice is that there's a blue background here. That means that I have a message to view from the PulseCom app for this particular student. If I scroll a little bit farther down, I see Lawrence. There's no blue view notification. That means I don't have a message to view for that particular student. Moving over to the name column here, these are also quick links. So if I wanted to view the student info page for a particular student, I could click the student's name and it would take me right there to that page directly for the student. Next up, we have a reminders column. You can see there's not any reminders in for these students until I get to a red bell. Reminders are just little pieces of information that you want to remember for a particular student. A lot of times you can see work permits are on there. Sometimes you'll also see work schedules, making a note whether a student works first shift, second shift, third shift. You might also see reminders about EL supports or SPED supports that a student receives, or you may see something about maternity leave for a student as well. So this is really just a little bit of information that is important for you to remember to make sure that you're serving the student appropriately. And we'll get into this in a further video, but you actually enter reminders in on the student information page. Next up, SP, that stands for student plan. This column isn't used particularly frequently here for us. The bell just means there's something that you need to go address in the student plan. For most part, teachers just go directly to the student plan and they don't need to use this dashboard reminder. Next up, we have an intervention column. This is used in a variety of ways across different centers. So make sure you talk with your center staff to learn more about how that column is used. If you do want to change the value that's put in on the intervention column here, you also do that in the student information page. Next up, we have student engagement data. Okay, so we've got rate week to date, hours week to date, progress week to date. This tells you how the student is engaging with the LMS. So rate stands for the number of days that a student has logged in to the LMS over the course of the week. We can see I'm looking at a previous week, a week that happened in November. So the bottom number represents the number of days that have occurred so far in this week. Because this week is over, it's 7 full days. And I can see how many days out of the week a student logged in. So Marina was in for 3. I can see Angelica was only logged in for 1 day. So that's the engagement data there. Hours week to date tells you how long the student was logged into the LMS in terms of total number of hours over the course of the week. And then progress week to date represents the net gain that a student made in their course from Wednesday, the start of the week, all the way until Tuesday. So Marina made 30% progress in her course throughout the entirety of the week. Phyllis made 4.4% increase in her course. So you can see that listed here. And then you also have a progress required column here, and this tells you what progress should be showing in that progress week to date at that point during the week. So you'll notice if you look in Pulse, this actually will tick off by about 6% each day. So Wednesday when you see it, it'll say around 6% progress required. When you come back Thursday morning, it'll say around 12%, 13% progress required. Again, this week is all the way over, so progress required is around 30% for these students. So that's your LMS engagement data. Moving on, you have 4 columns that show percent to goal. Okay, and you kind of see the trend data over the course of these columns in most recent short term, and then moving kind of to long-term trends. So percent to goal, you can see, is for this current week that's being shown. For this particular student, their percent to goal is 101% to goal. And you can see that because Marina, she completed 30.4% in her course, and her progress required was 29.9. So she exceeded her goal, which is why her percent to goal is above 100. You can see the percent to goal she completed last week, and then you can also see a 4-week average and an 8-week average. So this just kind of gives you an idea of, long term, how is the student doing week after week in terms of progress. The other thing I do want to bring your attention to, going back to that progress required column, you actually can hover over it and you get this view progress option. If you click on that, it'll load for a second, and once it does, you'll actually be able to see the raw progress in the student's Edgenuity course. So I can see that this student, Phyllis, is taking personal finance, and I can see she's 50% through that course. Okay, so that's the raw Edgenuity progress, what the student sees on their end. You can also show past courses and see the other courses that this student took. So that shows you the raw Edgenuity progress if you click on it. The progress week to date, again, is that net gain. So how much progress the student has actually made throughout the course of the week. So that's available there. And then to the right of your 8-week average, you can see class done and class goal for the student. So those are pretty self-explanatory. Class done, how many courses has the student completed so far this year? Class goal, you'll see that there's a lot of 12s listed here. That means the student was enrolled from the start of the school year. If you see a number less than 12, so if you see something like 9, that means the student enrolled partway through the school year. Moving on, you'll see after our class goal, we have a bunch of communication data here. So you'll see the days of the week listed. Our week starts on a Wednesday, so that's why Wednesday comes first. And then underneath that, you'll see a bunch of letter codes. And these actually correspond to communication types that are available within the teacher log. X stands for the PulseCom app. F stands for Facebook. You might see a T in there that stands for text. A stands for center attendance. So there's a variety of codes, but each of these letters represents a communication that occurred on that given day. And then you'll notice that there are some green letters here. That means that those particular conversations qualified as state two-way conversations. So you can see that here listed throughout every day this week. And then finally, after that, you have the two-way communication column. And this lets you know whether or not the student had a state-qualified two-way communication during that week. So we see a lot of yeses here. That's what we want to see. And then last but not least, on this page, we've got 2 columns that have a date and a time. The first one is the last log entry, so that lets you know the last time a staff member entered a log into the teacher log. So that's a staff action right there. And then you can see a last activity button, and that gives you the date and time that the student last completed an activity in their course. So that's a student action right there. So that's all the data that's available to you on the dashboard. One other thing I do want to bring to your attention, each of these columns on the dashboard are sortable, which is fantastic because it can help you prioritize the students that you're working with and kind of prioritize your workflow. A lot of staff members sort by progress week to date. That's a common one, so you click on that and the dashboard resorts. So now I can prioritize all my students who have not engaged. Okay, I can also click it again and it sorts the other direction. Maybe I want to focus on reaching out to my students who are doing a really good job this week. So I can sort by that progress week to date and communicate with all my high achievers. You could also do this for hours. Maybe you want to celebrate your students who have spent a lot of time in the LMS working on their course. You can also sort by that two-way communication option. That's a common one as well. Maybe you want to prioritize your students you haven't heard from yet this week. So that's the teacher dashboard there in a nutshell. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.